What if the last time you saw someone was through a doorbell camera and they were already running from death? It was 2:47 a.m. when she rang the doorbell, barefoot, crying. She didn't knock. She didn't scream. She just stood there, trembling, eyes wide, lips moving, but no sound. The doorbell cam recorded everything. She kept glancing behind her, as if someone was watching, following, hunting. She was wearing nothing but an oversized hoodie. No shoes. No phone. Her legs were shaking. She rang the bell once, then again, then stood still. You can see her mouth a word, over and over. But there's no audio. No one knows what she was trying to say. Seconds later, headlights flash in the far corner of the footage, then vanish. She turns, looks down the street, and disappears into the dark. That moment, captured in shaky night vision, was the last time anyone saw Kayla Benton alive. Her mother filed the missing person report just after 6 a.m. "I knew something was wrong the second the sun came up," she said. She never stayed out past midnight. Never. Kayla had left the house earlier that night after a screaming match with her stepfather. Neighbors said they heard a door slam. She was barefoot when she left. Hours later, she reappeared, on a stranger's doorstep, pleading silently for help. But no one answered the door. The homeowners were asleep. They didn't even check their ring footage until 2 days later, when flyers began showing up all over the neighborhood. Police immediately pulled the footage, analyzed the clip frame by frame. Behind her, just barely visible, a white pickup truck is parked near the end of the street. Lights off, engine on. The truck never moves, never approaches. But Kayla glances at it, twice, then vanishes. The truck was traced, registered to a 39-year-old construction worker who lived 2 blocks away. He said he was asleep, alone, watching YouTube videos until midnight. His phone data backed it up. No signs of movement, but officers noted the vehicle smelled faintly of bleach. Still, no charges were filed. No witnesses. No noise. No struggle. Just 30 seconds of silent footage, and a teenage girl who never made it home. Kayla Benton was 17, an honor roll student, captain of her swim team. She had a future full of scholarships, dreams, and plans. And then, without a trace, she was gone. That short video clip? It's all her mother has left. She still watches it sometimes, just to see her daughter's face. Even if it was the face of someone terrified, and already fading. Kayla Benton didn't run away. That's what her mother, Angela Benton, told police the second they arrived. "She's not the type. I don't care what anyone says." Kayla always came back, even after arguments, even after tears, even when things got ugly at home. She had a system. She'd text her best friend, crash for the night, and sneak back in through her bedroom window before dawn. But this time, there was no message, no calls, no sign of life. Angela knew her daughter better than anyone. Kayla wasn't a rebellious teen. She wasn't the partying type. She drank chamomile tea before bed. She journaled every night. She had a strict skincare routine and set her alarm for 5:15 a.m. so she could stretch before swim practice. She'd even laid out her practice gear before dinner that night, neatly folded on the dresser. That's why it didn't make sense. Why would she leave barefoot? If she was planning to come back? Her bedroom was untouched. Phone charging beside her bed. Laptop still open on a college scholarship application. The stuffed giraffe her father won at the county fair still sat in the corner of her bed, its neck drooping slightly. Everything was normal, except her absence. Angela kept replaying the doorbell footage over and over, zooming in, pausing, looking for something she'd missed. And one detail chilled her to her core. Kayla wasn't crying because she was lost. She wasn't asking for help like someone who didn't know where to go. She looked hunted. Her hands shook. Her eyes darted behind her. Again and again. She kept mouthing a word, barely visible. Just 3 syllables. Angela swears it looked like, "Help me, please." But she never said it out loud. Angela called Kayla's best friend, Mia, just before sunrise. "She was with you last night?" "No." I thought she was with you. And then something strange happened. Mia went silent, then whispered. She texted me at 12:09. It said, "He followed me. That's all." Angela dropped the phone. When police pulled phone records, they found the same thing. One outgoing message from Kayla's number at 12:09 a.m. "He followed me." No name, no location, no follow-up. And it was the last message ever sent from her phone. It pinged off a cell tower 3 blocks east of the address where the doorbell footage was captured. Then, silence. The phone was either turned off or destroyed minutes later. Kayla's stepfather, Rick, told officers he thought she was just being dramatic. "She yelled at me, threw her phone down and walked out. That's all. I figured she'd cool off." Angela didn't believe him. Not completely. There'd been tension between Kayla and Rick for months. He was strict, overbearing. And once, just once, Angela caught him reading Kayla's diary. When she confronted him, he laughed. Said it was for her safety. Kayla never wrote in that diary again. Later that day, police interviewed the owners of the home where the doorbell footage was recorded. An elderly couple, both sound sleepers, didn't hear the doorbell. The husband, Mr. Duncan, said, "I didn't even know we had a camera until my son came by that weekend and checked the app. And when we saw that girl, my wife started crying. We felt awful." The footage had automatically backed up to the cloud. No audio, just 30 seconds of silent terror. Angela begged the police to release the footage to the public. She wanted eyes on it. Tension, pressure, leads. But they hesitated. Too sensitive. Too soon. They didn't want to interfere with the investigation. Meanwhile, every second that passed felt like another door slamming shut. By day 2, volunteers had formed a search party. Angela was at the front of the group, eyes swollen, holding a photo of her daughter. "She's wearing this hoodie," she told every stranger. "She had no shoes. Please, just check your security cams." They combed through alleys, drainage ditches, wooded lots, abandoned buildings. Nothing. Not a footprint. Not a hair strand. Not a single breadcrumb. As if the moment Kayla stepped off that porch, she ceased to exist. But one woman in the search party, someone who lived just 4 streets away, mentioned something. "A noise. A scream," she said. "Around 3:15. I wasn't sure if it was real or if I was dreaming, but it sounded like someone was being hurt. I looked outside, but I didn't see anything." The police took the report, but it didn't lead anywhere. No blood, no weapon, no body, just one more piece of a puzzle no one could solve. And yet Angela couldn't stop thinking about that text. "He followed me." Who was he? Where did he follow her from? And why? When she reached someone's doorstep, didn't she speak? That night, as Angela lay awake clutching Kayla's sweater, she asked the question every parent fears. What if I heard her yelling that night and didn't realize it was her? The guilt sank deep, colder than fear, more permanent than pain. Because even as the police held press conferences and offered hotlines, the truth was simple. Kayla Benton was still missing, and no one had a clue why. The town of Ash Hollow wasn't used to this kind of silence. By the 3rd day, the missing posters began curling at the edges. Taped to stop signs, school walls, even grocery carts. Kayla's face stared back at the entire community, smiling, unaware. It was the same photo Angela had used in every holiday card. Kayla in her swim gear, goggles pushed up, flashing a grin like she had nothing to hide and no reason to fear. But now those same eyes, so full of life, looked haunting. Because everyone had seen the footage, and no one had answers. That 30-second clip had already been viewed over 12,000 times in just 2 days. Local news picked it up, then regional, then national. She rang the doorbell at 2:47 a.m., the anchors said, then vanished into the night. A forensic video analyst slowed the footage down to frame-by-frame review. The hoodie she was wearing was oversized, likely not hers. There was a faded logo on the sleeve, part of a mechanic shop 3 towns over. Her family had never seen it before. Police wondered, had she taken it from someone? Had someone given it to her? After she fled, they began retracing her steps from the night of the argument. Rick, her stepfather, said she left around 11:45 p.m., slamming the door. No shoes, no phone, but digital data told a different story. Kayla's phone pinged at 11:57 p.m. from a neighborhood surveillance camera 2 blocks south. At 12:01, a motion-activated light behind the Creekside apartments triggered. And at 12:09, she texted, "He followed me." There were no more pings after that. Her phone never connected again. Police now believed the message wasn't sent from her house. But after she was already on the run, Angela broke down when they told her that. It meant Kayla had nowhere to go, and no one to call. That text wasn't a cry for help sent from her room. It was a message sent while being pursued. Detectives canvassed the apartment complex near that last ping. A few security cams had already overwritten their recordings. But one old system, tucked behind a liquor store, still had footage. At 12:06 a.m., a figure could be seen running barefoot across the back alley. Long hair, hoodie. She stops, turns, hides behind a dumpster. Then 2 minutes later, headlights appear. A white truck drives slowly past the alley. Same model as the one spotted near the Doorbell house. They freeze the frame, zoom in, but the plate is unreadable. The image is too grainy. No clear proof it's the same truck, but everything pointed to it. Still no arrest, no official suspect. Meanwhile, the public started forming theories. Reddit threads, TikTok breakdowns, internet sleuths poring over every detail of the case. Who was he? Why didn't Kayla say his name? One user found a comment she left on a YouTube video for months earlier. Sometimes silence is safer than truth. No one thought much of it then. Now it felt like a warning from the past. A week after the footage aired, a girl from Kayla's school came forward. Her name was Alyssa Crane, soft-spoken, always in Kayla's shadow. She sat with detectives and said something that made every officer pause. Kayla told me a month ago she thought someone was watching her. They asked her to explain. She didn't want to sound paranoid, but she said she kept seeing a white truck drive by her bus stop after practice. Same time, same route, same truck. Every day. Angela buried her face in her hands when she heard that. "Why didn't she tell me?" she whispered. "She did," Alyssa said. "She told me she tried to tell you, but every time she brought it up, Rick got angry. So she stopped. That shifted the spotlight. Rick's alibi was re-examined. He claimed he was home watching videos until midnight. But phone records showed a 12-minute gap in his YouTube history between 12:02 a.m. and 12:14 a.m. Nothing played. No activity. When detectives asked where he was during that window, Rick's response was, "Probably stepped outside for a smoke. Lost track of time." But Rick had told Angela he quit smoking last February. And when pressed again, he changed his story. Detectives obtained a warrant and impounded the white truck. The same one Rick used for work. The same one that smelled like bleach the night Kayla vanished. They ran luminol tests on the interior. The first sweep was inconclusive. But inside the trunk lining, deep beneath the fabric, they found something faint. A partial handprint. Too smudged to confirm identity, but enough to raise eyebrows. Rick was brought in for questioning. They asked him directly, "Did you follow Kayla after she left?" He shook his head. "She left. I stayed. That's it." But when shown the new surveillance footage, the white truck cruising past the alley, Rick went quiet. Then leaned forward and said, "Lots of white trucks out there, detective," and smiled. Angela collapsed on the hallway bench outside the interrogation room. She didn't want to believe it. Not the man she shared her bed with. Not the man who helped raise her daughter. But a gnawing voice in her mind whispered the same thing over and over. "You never really knew him." The evidence was mounting. But it still wasn't enough. No body. No murder weapon. No confession. Kayla Benton was still just missing. And every day, the distance between hope and closure grew wider. But then, on the 11th day, a woman walking her dog made a discovery in the woods behind Creekside Apartments. Something buried. Just under the surface. It was early morning when the call came in. A woman named Marcia Tilden had been walking her dog behind the Creekside Apartments, an overgrown patch of woods known mostly for stray cats and teenage bonfires. She'd taken the trail hundreds of times. But that morning something made her stop. Her dog, a golden retriever named Scout, had pulled sharply to the right, barking at a clump of disturbed soil near the tree line. At first, Marcia thought it was just animal droppings or someone burying trash. But then she saw it. Fabric. Just a sliver. Dark gray, stained, and barely peeking through the dirt. She bent down. What she uncovered would shake the town to its core. Police sealed off the area by 8:12 a.m. Cadaver dogs were brought in. The press caught wind. And within hours, Angela Benton stood trembling behind the yellow tape. Facing the woods she prayed her daughter wasn't in. But deep down, she already knew. The hoodie was the first thing they pulled out. The same oversized hoodie Kayla had been wearing in the doorbell footage. The same one no one could trace. It was soaked, torn along the left arm, and smeared in something far worse than mud. They didn't find her body right away, but they found more clues. Buried under a second layer of dirt. A broken phone case, torn shoelaces, and a bracelet Angela had given Kayla for her 16th birthday, engraved with the words, "You are never alone." Angela dropped to her knees when detectives handed it to her. "That bracelet never left her wrist," she whispered. "She even wore it in the shower." They searched the area for hours, tore through vines, cut back brush, dug deeper, but the soil had been disturbed multiple times. Whoever buried the evidence knew the terrain and knew how to hide. It wasn't a random dump site. It was intentional. A place the killer felt safe coming back to. Inside the hoodie's front pocket, they found something odd. A small metal key, unlabeled, worn, with faint blue paint around the base. They ran it against apartment listings, mailboxes, and locker records. And it matched Unit 4B, an empty storage unit, rented under Rick's name. Angela collapsed. Why? Why would he? She couldn't finish the sentence. Because this wasn't just negligence anymore. This was premeditation. Detectives immediately obtained a search warrant for the unit. They opened it that evening. Unit 4B was small and cold, bare concrete, one overhead bulb. And in the far corner, hidden under a blue tarp, was a black duffel bag. Inside, a stained towel, 2 zip ties, a burner phone, and Kayla's missing cell phone, cracked but still intact. When digital forensics cracked the phone, they found a voice memo recorded at 12:12 a.m., the night Kayla vanished. Audio distorted, wind blowing. But one line was clear. "If I don't make it back." It was Rick. "He followed me. He won't stop." Angela screamed when she heard it. Detectives arrested Rick Benton at 6:39 p.m. He was found at a bar watching coverage of the discovery on the news. When they cuffed him, he didn't resist, didn't speak, just stared straight ahead. The interrogation that followed was cold, calculated. Rick never admitted guilt, never broke. But when they played Kayla's voice, soft, trembling, certain, his jaw twitched, just once, and the lead detective saw it. The DA moved quickly to charge Rick with first-degree kidnapping, obstruction of justice, and suspicion of homicide. But without a body, the case still had cracks. His defense team called it all circumstantial. No DNA, no confirmed death, no eyewitness. But the public wasn't buying it. And neither was Angela. She stood on her front porch the next morning, flanked by neighbors, friends, reporters. She held up Kayla's bracelet and said, "I don't need a trial to know what he did. I just want to bring my daughter home. I want to bury her, not chase ghosts." The search resumed, bigger, broader. With new eyes and new hope, Kayla's school held a vigil. Her swim team lined the lanes with candles, each one flickering in silence, just like the porch light in that now-famous footage. That video played in Angela's mind on repeat. Her daughter on the doorstep, alone, begging without words. And now, all that was left was the dirt, and the truth trying to claw its way out from beneath it, because someone buried Kayla. But someone else knew exactly where she was. Kayla Benton had now been missing for 5 days. The police had no suspects, no clear motive, no body, no blood. But something about that doorbell footage wasn't sitting right with Detective Hale. He had watched it dozens of times. And then, on the 38th playback, he noticed something. A frame skip. Exactly 4 seconds of footage were missing between Kayla's glance over her shoulder and her turning to walk away. The timestamp jumped. No glitch, no lag, just a clean cut, as if someone had intentionally edited the footage. He called the homeowners immediately. "Did you touch the file?" "No," the man answered. "We downloaded it straight from the Ring app. Did you give anyone access?" "Well, the officer who first came. He took the tablet." Detective Hale's jaw tightened. The officer in question had been Deputy Morgan Price, a rookie cop from the night shift. She'd logged the footage into evidence. She'd filled out the chain of custody form. Everything looked perfect on paper. But Hale knew what to look for. He checked the internal metadata of the video file. It had been duplicated. The version logged into evidence had a different checksum signature from the original download. Someone had tampered with it, and whoever did it knew exactly what they were doing. The detective requested the raw cloud data directly from Ring's central servers. He had to go through red tape, corporate lawyers, privacy policies, but after 3 days of pushing, he got it. He ran a frame-by-frame comparison, and there it was. In the missing 4 seconds, a figure appeared. Not clearly, just a shadow, darting across the corner of the screen. Too tall to be Kayla. Too fast for someone casually walking. Wearing something dark. Possibly a hoodie. Possibly a mask. But the most chilling part? Kayla looks at the figure and whispers something just before the footage resumes. Lip readers were called in. 2 specialists reviewed the slowed-down footage. They both agreed on what she was saying. "Why are you doing this?" Detective Hale sat in silence for nearly a full minute after hearing it. She wasn't just scared. She knew the person following her. She recognized them, and she wasn't running from a stranger. The detective turned back to the white pickup truck. The man who owned it, Russell Kincaid, still had no charges. Still had a clean alibi. But now something else surfaced. One of the lip readers said something odd. "She doesn't sound like she's yelling. She sounds like she's pleading, softly, like she's speaking to someone she doesn't want to alert. Almost as if the person was already close. Too close, like inside the house." Detective Hale reviewed the police log again. The stepfather, Craig Lorne, had a clean record. But one note stood out. He stayed at the home alone while the mother went to search. Why wasn't that questioned? Neighbors had previously complained about shouting late at night. But the complaints had never escalated. The detective returned to the Benton house. This time he brought a forensic team. They scanned the floors, the walls, the crawl space. That's when they found it. In the attic above Kayla's bedroom, a hidden GoPro camera. Wired. Recording. Footage stored on a local SD card. Over 120 hours of video. When they opened the files, they found footage of Kayla. Sleeping, changing, reading. All recorded without her knowledge. And in one clip, just 3 days before she vanished, someone entered her room while she was asleep. A man. Tall. Heavy-set. Wearing work boots. And the voice? "Just checking the vent, kiddo," he whispered. Craig. Her stepfather. Detective Hale went cold. They arrested Craig that same evening. When confronted with the footage, he tried to claim ignorance. Said it was part of a home security project. But then they found something else in his tool chest. A small pink bracelet with a nameplate that read Kayla. Her mother confirmed it was a childhood gift. Something Kayla had lost months ago. But it was hidden under a false drawer, wrapped in tissue. And then came the search warrant for his truck. Under the back seat, they found a burnt piece of hoodie fabric, matching what Kayla wore in the doorbell footage. Craig didn't speak, didn't ask for a lawyer, didn't show emotion. He just stared forward and whispered. It was supposed to stop. They arrived at the property at exactly 3:13 p.m. A small, rundown house on Westbridge Lane, just 8 blocks from where Kayla Benton was last seen. This time they had a warrant. Neighbors watched from behind curtains as 3 officers entered with flashlights, latex gloves, and blank expressions. The white truck in the driveway hadn't moved in 2 days. Inside the house, the air was thick, heavy with a smell that wasn't quite rot, but close. The owner, Jared Kent, stood in the hallway, expressionless, arms crossed. He didn't ask what the warrant was for. He didn't ask why they were there. He just said one word: downstairs. The officers started with the main floor, living room, kitchen, 2 small bedrooms. Clean. Almost too clean. No visible clutter. No dirty dishes. No signs of life. But also no signs of Kayla. Then they opened the door to the basement. Creaked like it hadn't been opened in weeks. The smell grew stronger. Not death. Not sewage. Bleach. Fresh bleach. One officer clicked on his flashlight and led the way down. The basement was unfinished. Cold concrete floors. One dangling bulb in the center. But against the far wall, partially covered by a canvas drop cloth, they found something strange. Not a body. Not blood. Not even clothes. But a mattress. Small. Stained. With one torn blanket neatly folded at the corner. Next to it was a plate. An empty water bottle. And a half-used roll of toilet paper. No windows. No light. No ventilation. Just a mattress, and the unmistakable imprint of someone having slept there recently. The lead detective, Sergeant Levinson, called it in immediately. "We've got a makeshift holding setup. This wasn't for storage." A forensic team arrived within the hour. They dusted the area, took air samples, collected fabric fibers from the blanket and mattress, and then they made the discovery that changed everything. Beneath the mattress, hidden under a plank in the floor, was Kayla Benton's bracelet. A cheap silver chain with a tiny sunflower charm, confirmed by her mother on site. "She never took it off," she whispered. "Even in the shower. That's hers. That's my baby's." Police took Jared Kent into custody immediately. His face didn't flinch. He offered no resistance. And when asked if Kayla had been in his home, all he said was, "You'll never prove it." The interrogation lasted 7 hours. He admitted to being in the area the night Kayla vanished. He admitted the truck was his. He admitted he'd seen the footage. But he denied ever touching her. "She came to my house," he said. "Came running in the night. Said someone was after her. I let her rest in the basement. That's all. I didn't hurt her. I just wanted to help." But when asked why he didn't call 911, why he didn't report her visit, why he cleaned the basement with industrial bleach, he had no answer. That night, police scoured his digital history. They found erased data on his phone, recently deleted apps, messages, and most disturbingly, a set of texts from a burner number. One of them read, "She said she knew. She said she saw you." Another said, "If this gets out, it's over for both of us." The number was untraceable, but the tone wasn't just threatening. It was desperate. Who was the second person? Was Kayla caught in the middle of something much darker than a runaway incident? And why did the text stop the exact same night she vanished? Still no body. No confirmed sighting. No confession. But now police weren't calling it a missing persons case anymore. This was officially a criminal abduction. Outside the station, Kayla's mother stood in front of reporters, tears streaking her face, clutching her daughter's bracelet like it was a heartbeat. "Someone helped him," she said. "Someone else was there. I don't care how long it takes. I will not stop until we find her. Until I bury the truth." And just when investigators thought they had their suspect, a second basement in a different home was discovered, with the exact same setup. Same mattress. Same bleach smell. Same rolled toilet paper. But this one had blood. The courtroom was silent when the footage played again. Kayla's face flickered across the screen. That same moment, 2:47 a.m., her eyes wide, lips moving, frozen in fear. Even the jury looked away. Her mother didn't. She stared straight at the screen. Tears streamed down, but she didn't blink. The defense argued that the footage proved nothing. No audio, no violence, just a girl on a porch. But the prosecution had something else now. A recovered voice message. One Kayla had sent her best friend just 15 minutes before that doorbell recording. Her voice was shaky. She whispered through the wind, panting as she walked. "If I don't come back, check his garage." They did. And what they found was worse than anyone imagined. Beneath a pile of drywall and scrap tools, police uncovered a false floor, a small trapdoor beneath. Inside was a space barely big enough for a person to crouch. Stains on the walls, a broken phone, and Kayla's necklace, still clutched in a corner. The same necklace she wore in the doorbell footage. The man, the one with the white pickup, tried to run, but he didn't get far. When officers arrived at his house with a warrant, he had already packed 2 bags and deleted his browser history. Too late. Forensics found Kayla's DNA. His phone, though previously wiped, revealed deleted location logs. He'd driven past the house 3 times that night. Circled. Waited. He knew her route. He'd watched her before. And that night he acted. The motive? Obsession. He'd seen her jogging past his house. Said she reminded him of someone he couldn't save. He confessed after 9 hours of interrogation. Not because he felt guilty, but because he didn't want his memorial to be misrepresented in the press. Those were his words. Kayla's mother didn't speak to reporters after the verdict, but she released a handwritten note. "My daughter was brave. She rang the bell. She asked for help. The world let her down." The doorbell footage is no longer public. The family requested its removal, but still copies circulate. Clips, edits, videos of strangers trying to read her lips. Some say she was saying, "Please." Others think it was, "He's here." No one will ever know for sure. Her grave is quiet. No flowers. Just a laminated photo tucked into the dirt. A still from the footage. She's not screaming. She's not moving. Just standing there, hoping someone would answer. Kayla Benton was just 17. And she did everything she could to survive. This story is not just about her. It's about how many cries for help we ignore. How many doors go unopened. And how often silence follows a scream no one heard. If you're still here, you felt that. Please subscribe to The Veil of Secret and share this story. Every view, every like, every comment, it makes their voices louder, because someone out there right now is ringing the bell. And this time, we have to open the door.